Hello everyone, I'm Sarah Holderness and this is Practical Python for Beginners. In this module, we're going to use lists and loops. A list in Python is a container that can store anything you want. You can have an empty list, a list of strings, a list of numbers, and a list of mixed items like numbers and strings, and even a list of lists. We want to store a list of our internet slang acronyms, like LOL means laugh out loud, so that we can create a translation application later. So if you don't know what these acronyms mean yet, that's okay, we'll define them later. In a list, an item's index is its position. In Python and in most programming languages, the index numbering starts at 0. So if we want to get the first acronym in our list, we type the name of the list, followed by square brackets and the index 0. Then the fourth acronym is at index 3. And in general, if you want the nth item, you would use the index n-1. To create our list, we can use square brackets. We can create an empty list and then add each item using the .append method. If we run this, we can see the 2 extra items we added, LOL and IDK. We could have also started by creating a list with a few items in it already. Then to add items, we would use the append method in the same way again. If we run this, we can see the 2 extra items we added. We haven't called a method like the append method before, so let's take a closer look. We've seen functions before like print, but methods are slightly different because methods are called on an object like the list here. Here we have the list we want to change, the append method. Then what we want to add to the list in parentheses. To remove an item, you can use the remove method and pass in the value like bfn here. And you can see bfn was removed. Or if you don't know the value, but you do know its position, you can remove an item by a specified index. To do that, use del followed by the item at the specified index. How can we check if an item is in a list? Maybe we don't want to add it if it's already in the list. We can use an if statement. In this example, we want to check if 1 is in the list, and if it is, print true. So the format of an if statement like this is if, then the item you're checking, then the keyword in, then the list you're checking. Let's check if the variable word is in the acronyms list. So we'll type if word in acronyms. Then we'll print word is in the list. Otherwise, we'll print word is not in the list. And if we run this, since bfn is not in the list, the if statement returns false, so the else block is run and we can see bfn is not in the list is printed. As we've seen earlier, we've printed our whole list by passing it to the print function, and it prints out similar to how it looks in code with square brackets around it. But what if we want to print each acronym in our list on a separate line? We would need a loop to loop over each item in the list and print it separately. A for loop looks similar to the if statement we saw before that checks if an item is in a list. We have the keyword for, the loop variable, the keyword in, and then the list we're checking. Here, the loop variable acronym is a temporary variable that holds one of the acronyms in the list for each run of the loop. You can think of this loop like saying, do this block of code for each string acronym in our acronyms list. Then if we run this code, we see LOL printed for the first loop, IDK printed for the second loop, SMH printed for the third loop, and TBH printed for the fourth. Notice how the code block you want repeated inside of the loop is indented, just like in an if statement. Now that we know how to use lists and for loops, let's take what we've learned and code an example together next.